Ladies and gentlemen, if someone throws a burning torch at you, would you catch it with your bare hands? That's what anger is. Every time someone provokes you, they hand you a flame. And yet, many catch it. Every single time. You burn, you suffer, and you wonder why peace never lasts. But what if I told you this? The truly powerful are never provoked, not because the world is kind, but because they have mastered themselves. This speech is not about controlling others. It's about training your mind to become so still, so anchored, that no storm can shake it. If you are tired of overreacting, if you are done letting others hijack your peace, then listen, because what you're about to hear can transform not just your mind, but your life. Emotional control is often mistaken for suppression, but in truth, it is one of the most refined forms of inner strength. It is not about bearing feelings or pretending that we are unaffected. Instead, it's the conscious choice not to let emotions dictate our behavior. Anger, irritation, and emotional outbursts may feel justified in the moment, but when examined closely, they are signs that we are still under the control of others, reactive to what the world throws at us. Real strength is not loud. It is not explosive. It is quiet, composed, and stable, even when chaos is unfolding all around. When you are emotionally reactive, you are a puppet pulled by the strings of the environment. Someone cuts you off in traffic and suddenly your entire state of being changes. Someone speaks harshly to you and it controls the rest of your day. In those moments you are not free, you are being directed. Emotional control then becomes your path to true freedom, because you reclaim the ability to decide how you feel, rather than handing that power to external forces. If your peace can be taken by a stranger's words or a friend's mistake, was it ever truly peace? Inner peace that depends on people behaving a certain way is fragile. It crumbles the moment expectations aren't met. But inner peace that arises from within, that is nurtured through emotional control, becomes a fortress. And that fortress cannot be breached because it is not built on anything temporary. The one who can control their reaction holds the advantage, not over others, but over themselves. That person does not waste energy proving a point. They do not drain themselves trying to be right. Instead, they invest their energy inward, mastering their response, mastering their thoughts, and mastering their breath. Emotional control turns the mind from a battlefield into a temple. It makes space between what happens and how you respond to it, and in that space, all wisdom lives. Developing emotional control doesn't mean you never feel anger. It means anger no longer controls you. It arises, but it passes like a cloud. You do not become it, you see it, you witness it, you learn from it. And that is the subtle art of internal power. You can be aware of the storm without becoming the storm. This inner stance is not passive, it is profoundly active. It takes discipline, training, and a willingness to sit with discomfort rather than react to it. People often misunderstand calm people as emotionless. But emotional control doesn't mean you're numb. It means your emotions serve you, not rule you. It means you have trained your mind to remain centered even when the world is pulling in every direction. And that truly is strength. Because anyone can yell, anyone can break down, anyone can explode. But the one who can stay still, the one who can pause, breathe, and choose their reaction, that person carries real power. This kind of strength cannot be taken from you. It is built from the inside. It is forged in silence. And once you begin to live from that place of calm awareness, the world stops disturbing you in the same way. People may still try to provoke you. Life may still test you. But you no longer respond from a place of weakness. You respond from awareness, from stability, from clarity. Emotional control is not about pretending to be above others. It is about choosing not to be dragged down by things that do not serve your highest self. It's about realizing that your energy is sacred, your attention is valuable, and your inner peace is not a gift to be handed away to every small disturbance. It is your responsibility and your strength to protect it. What disturbs you reveals where you are not free. This is one of the most transformative truths a person can realize. Often we think we are angry because of what someone said or because of how a situation unfolded. We believe the problem is out there, in people, in circumstances, in the world. But the truth is far more personal. The world only reflects what's already happening within. If a comment from someone stings, it is not the comment itself that caused pain, it is the unresolved wound inside us that it touched. If someone's behavior irritates you, it's not their action alone, it's the resistance within you that makes it unbearable. When something bothers you deeply, it exposes an attachment, an insecurity, or a belief that you've not yet examined. Maybe it's a need for approval, maybe it's a fear of being disrespected, maybe it's a craving for control. Whatever it is, when disturbed by others, the emotional turbulence is a signal, a message, pointing you to something you haven't yet mastered internally. And the ones who disturb us most are often our greatest teachers, because they show us where our chains are. This realization shifts everything. Instead of blaming, you begin to observe. Instead of reacting, you start reflecting. Every moment of disturbance becomes a chance to grow, a doorway into self-awareness. You begin to ask, why did this affect me so strongly? What part of me was hoping for a different outcome? What expectation did I place on this person or this moment that wasn't fulfilled? You stop viewing emotional triggers as enemies and start seeing them as insights into your own conditioning. Freedom in its purest form is internal. It means no person, no comment, no event has the power to steal your peace. It means you are no longer emotionally enslaved to how others behave. Imagine the strength of a mind that no longer takes offense. Imagine the freedom of a heart that doesn't hold resentment because it no longer needs to defend its ego. That kind of freedom doesn't come by accident. It comes from doing the inner work, questioning your reactions, facing your shadows, and healing the beliefs that keep you bound. The more you observe your emotional responses, the more you begin to notice patterns. You'll see that the same type of person or situation provokes you again and again. That's not coincidence. That's life, offering you repeated lessons until you outgrow them. And once you truly learn the lesson, the trigger dissolves. What once caused anger now brings understanding. What once disturbed your peace now passes through you like wind through trees. This is how you begin to reclaim power, not by controlling others, but by mastering yourself. Because the moment you require someone else to change so that you can feel calm, you have given your power away. And the more power you give away, the more imprisoned you become by the world's unpredictability. But the moment you turn your gaze inward and take full responsibility for your reactions, you step into a different life. What disturbs you is not your enemy, it is your invitation. An invitation to dig deeper, to shed what no longer serves you, and to come home to the peace that is always available beneath the surface noise. When nothing outside you can shake you inside, then you have touched true freedom. And that freedom cannot be gifted or taught. It can only be realized through deep, honest awareness of your own inner world. You don't control others, only yourself. This simple truth, when fully understood, liberates you from countless moments of stress, frustration, and emotional suffering. Yet most people live in the illusion that if they could just make others behave differently, if they could change the way people speak, act, or respond, then they would finally find peace. But the truth is, peace has never been about the outside world. It has always been about how you meet the world within yourself. Trying to control others is like trying to control the wind. You can shout at it, resist it, curse it, but the wind will keep moving on its own terms. People are the same. They speak from their own conditioning. They act from their own stories, fears, and limitations, and most of the time they are not even aware of the impact they're having. But if your peace depends on their awareness, their maturity, or their kindness, then you will always live at the mercy of forces beyond your reach. The path to true strength lies in shifting your attention inward. You do not get to decide how people treat you, but you always get to decide how you respond. This is where your power lives, not in demanding respect, but in living with such self-respect that you do not require it from others to feel whole. Not in needing others to validate your feelings, but in knowing them so deeply that external approval becomes unnecessary. When you stop trying to fix or change people, a great weight lifts off your shoulders. You realize that much of your suffering was never about what someone did, but about your expectation that they should have done differently. Let go of the need to change anyone, and you will begin to experience a rare kind of peace, one that arises not because the world is calm, but because you are. This does not mean tolerating disrespect. It means recognizing that your boundaries are your responsibility. You can walk away, you can speak up, you can choose who stays in your life and who doesn't. But you don't need to get angry to do so. You don't need to lose your peace in order to take action. Calmness does not mean weakness. It means clarity, and from clarity, all right action flows. The most powerful people are not those who control others, they are those who no longer need to. They are stable within themselves. Their mood is not dictated by someone else's words. Their self-worth is not measured by how others treat them. They have learned that the only real control is self-control. And once you have that, nothing and no one can move you unless you allow it. Even in conflict, even in misunderstanding, you can remain grounded. You can observe your thoughts, breathe through your impulses, and choose your words with intention. That is real mastery. That is real power. The world does not need more people trying to overpower each other. It needs more people willing to take full responsibility for their own mind. When you stop controlling others and start mastering yourself, you begin to live from a place of deep personal freedom. And from this place, your energy is no longer reactive. It becomes creative. You begin to shape your life not from fear or frustration, but from clarity and purpose. Others will still be as they are. The world will continue on its unpredictable path. But you will be steady. You will be centered. Because you will have understood the deepest truth of all. The only thing you truly control is you. And that is more than enough. Stillness is not weakness, it is wisdom. In a world that glorifies speed, reaction, and loudness, stillness is often misunderstood. People assume that to stay silent in the face of conflict, to remain calm when challenged, or to pause instead of reacting immediately is a sign of fear or passivity. But in truth, stillness is one of the highest forms of strength. It is the mark of someone who is rooted, someone who no longer needs to prove anything through noise or resistance. Stillness is not the absence of thought or emotion, it is the presence of awareness. It is the space between impulse and action, the breath taken before words are spoken, the clarity that arises when you step back from the chaos. In that space you gain perspective. You begin to see not only what is happening, but why it's happening, and more importantly, how you wish to respond, not react. This subtle difference is everything. A weak person reacts without thinking. Their emotions lead them blindly, often into regret. But a wise person pauses. They feel deeply, but they are not consumed. They observe their inner world before stepping into the outer one. That pause, that internal silence, is not hesitation, it is precision. It is deliberate. It is the strength of someone who knows they are in control of themselves and therefore unshaken by others. Stillness allows you to reclaim power. When someone provokes you and you do not react, you break the cycle. You deny them the control they hoped to exert over your emotions. You show that your peace is not up for negotiation. And you act from choice, not compulsion. This is wisdom. Not being pulled into every battle, not answering every insult, not chasing validation from those who don't understand your path. Most people spend their lives in a constant state of reaction. Something happens, they speak. Someone offends them, they argue. A problem appears, they panic. In this way they become predictable and fragile. But stillness interrupts this pattern. It trains you to stop before responding. It teaches you to observe your mind like a calm witness, and in that observation you begin to change. Stillness also creates presence. When the mind is still, the present moment becomes clear. You are no longer haunted by the past or anxious about the future. You are right here, awake, grounded and alive. From this space all wise action flows naturally. You begin to hear the inner voice that gets drowned out by constant noise. You reconnect with your own values, your inner compass. You stop living reactively and start responding with intention. Stillness doesn't mean you say nothing. It means you wait until what you say will serve peace, not ego. In difficulty, stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means acting only when the mind is clear, not clouded by fear or frustration. Stillness does not remove you from the world. It gives you the clarity to walk through it with grace. And perhaps the greatest strength of stillness is that it cannot be forced. It must be cultivated. It is the fruit of patience, of inner work, of discipline. It is born from sitting with your emotions, not escaping them, from watching your anger rise and choosing not to feed it, from feeling your pride flare up and letting it dissolve before it speaks. In this way, stillness becomes a sacred power, a shield that protects your energy and a lens that sharpens your wisdom. Stillness is not weakness. It is the quiet force that holds all true strength. It is the choice to be calm in a world that thrives on noise. It is the wisdom to know that your peace is more valuable than any temporary victory in a meaningless argument. And when you master stillness, you no longer need to prove your power, because your presence speaks for itself. Anger is borrowed fire. It burns you before anyone else. This is one of the most overlooked truths in emotional life. When someone says something cruel, unfair or disrespectful, the immediate reaction is often to strike back, to raise your voice, to defend yourself with the same heat that was thrown at you. But in doing so, you take their fire and make it your own. You carry it in your body, your mind and your energy. And before it ever reaches them again, it begins to consume you first. The fire of anger feels powerful at first. It feels justified. It feels like a weapon. But it's a weapon that wounds the one who holds it. You tighten your chest, you clench your fists, your thoughts become clouded and your heart races. You feel the pressure to act, to retaliate, to say something, anything that can restore your sense of power. But in truth, the moment you let that fire take hold, you've already given your power away. You've handed your emotions to the very person who disturbed you. Anger is seductive because it disguises itself as strength. It tells you that reacting makes you strong, that shouting makes you heard, that being sharp and defensive makes you respected. But if you truly observe the process, anger only makes you reactive. It doesn't give you control. It takes it from you. It makes you impulsive, vulnerable and disconnected from your deeper wisdom. In trying to punish others, you poison yourself. Holding on to anger is like holding hot coal with the intent to throw it at someone. You are the one who gets burned, not just emotionally, but mentally and even physically. Prolonged anger affects your health, your relationships, your peace of mind. It lives in your body and shapes your thoughts. It becomes the lens through which you see the world. And when that happens, you are no longer responding to life as it is. You are reacting to life from a place of inner damage. The moment you realize that anger is a borrowed fire, you start to question whether it's worth holding. You begin to see that just because someone else is on fire doesn't mean you need to burn with them. You can choose to remain cool, to protect your energy, to let their heat pass without absorbing it. This doesn't mean you're passive. It means you're wise enough not to be pulled into emotional warfare that leaves everyone wounded. Real strength is in restraint. It's in the ability to stay calm when provoked, to pause before speaking, to act from clarity instead of chaos. When you let go of the fire, you make space for something higher. Understanding, perspective, peace. You realize that the other person's words or actions are often just projections of their own pain, and that their fire does not have to become your fire. To live without being consumed by anger is to live in freedom. It's to walk through the world untouched by insults, unmoved by ignorance, and unshaken by negativity. It's to carry a calm center in a world that's constantly trying to pull you off balance. And that calmness is not weakness, it is mastery. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember, you don't have to pick up the flame. You don't have to match their energy. You don't have to respond with fire. Let them burn alone if they must. You, on the other hand, have something far more powerful: peace, awareness, and the ability to protect your inner space. Because in the end, that's what matters. Not who shouted louder, not who proved a point, but who stayed true to themselves, who refused to be dragged into darkness, and who chose to walk the higher path, even when the fire was tempting. That is not weakness. That is power. Unshakable people are not born, they are trained. No one comes into this world with perfect emotional balance, complete self-control, or inner peace that cannot be disturbed. These qualities are not traits of personality, they are results of practice. They are earned through experience, reflection, discipline, and repetition. The people who appear calm in chaos, those who remain still while others panic, are not immune to emotions. They have simply trained themselves to master their reactions rather than be mastered by them. This training does not happen in silence or comfort. It happens in challenge. It is forged in the moments when everything inside you wants to explode, but you choose to breathe. It is refined in situations where your pride is tested, but you decide to walk away. It is strengthened when people misunderstand you, offend you, disrespect you, and still you refuse to lose yourself. Each of these moments is a test, and each time you choose peace over reaction, your emotional resilience grows stronger. Unshakable people are not those who avoid difficulty. They are those who confront difficulty and remain rooted. They do not rely on external circumstances to feel balanced. Their calm is not based on how others treat them or how the world moves. It is grounded in something deeper: self-awareness and discipline. They have trained their minds like a muscle. Just as the body becomes stronger with consistent exercise, the mind becomes steadier with consistent mindfulness. But training the mind is often uncomfortable. It means watching your emotions rise without acting on them. It means sitting with discomfort instead of distracting yourself. It means taking full responsibility for your behavior, even when it would be easier to blame someone else. This kind of training demands honesty. It requires looking at your own patterns, your triggers, your reactions, your emotional habits, and being willing to change them, not just once, but over and over again. The truth is, the untrained mind reacts impulsively. It clings to pride, it seeks control, it fears silence. The trained mind, on the other hand, knows the value of pause. It recognizes the power in stillness. It does not need to prove anything. It responds rather than reacts, and it understands that real power is quiet, intentional, and consistent. This kind of mental and emotional mastery doesn't arrive suddenly. It is built day by day, moment by moment, choice by choice. Think of a martial artist. They don't learn to block and move with grace on the first day. They repeat techniques thousands of times. They fall, they make mistakes, but they return again and again until the response becomes natural. The same is true for your emotional discipline. If you want to become unshakable, you must be willing to show up to your training. You must be willing to fail, learn, reflect, and repeat. There will always be people who test your peace. There will always be moments that challenge your patience. But these are not setbacks. They are opportunities. Each one is a chance to reinforce the foundation you are building within, and over time you will notice the change. Things that once bothered you no longer touch you the same way. Words that once triggered you now pass like wind through trees. You remain grounded, present, aware. Being unshakable doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you no longer allow what you feel to control how you act. It means you've built an inner world so strong that no outer force can break it. And that kind of strength is not given, it is earned. Through effort, through awareness, through discipline. So remember, no one is born unshakable, but anyone willing to train their mind, to discipline their emotions, and to protect their peace can become that way. It is not about perfection. It is about consistency. The path is not always easy, but it is always worth it. And every time you choose to rise above instead of sink into reaction, you take one more step toward becoming truly unshakable. Remember, anger is never given, it is taken. So stop taking it. Stop catching the flame. Each time you choose calm, you teach the world you are not available for battles that cost your peace. This is how you become unshakable. Not by force, but by stillness. Not by fighting, but by knowing. No one can bother you unless you hand them that power. And from this day, you no longer will.